you're going to press the go button or things don't go.
That's right. It can go wrong. It will go wrong.
It seems like they went, so we're already live. Welcome everyone who's watching us. I think we've got one watcher right now, but people should be coming in. This is a different time than our usual time to do this show. And we decided, me and Jimmy, to just do something a bit more catered to the other side of the world where we're at. Makes it a little bit harder for our guests today because Tim's over in California. It's already late night. Thank you very much for joining us, though. And would you like to just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about the project and how you came to be here?
I mean, it might be, but I think this is far preferential to 5 a.m. in the morning for most people. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's no worries. I'm a night owl myself. My name is Tim. I'm the lead, I guess you could say, for the Kaleidoscope NFT collection. It's like a big mismatch of like folklore and just all kinds of weird, just like, what do you call them, like suburban tales and whatnot and stuff like that. Like it's like a mixture of like Native American folklore and just like scientific facts and stuff like that. But it's basically like a. Oh, I'm sorry,
you mean American news?
Well, not news, but like like Native Americans.
I was just joking, by the way. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but there's only one of those so far. It's basically like a kachina, like a sticker that's out there. That's kind of like a preview to like what I'm really gonna do eventually with like a lot of these weird stickers that are eventually gonna branch out into other NFTs and interesting things to do with them.
Nice. And you guys have got some pretty cool like images as well that I've seen, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
So you guys can check out you can check out Kaleidoscope NFTs. Maybe we'll go check it out. I'll see if I can pull it up on the screen here.
Yes.
But yeah, so how did you find out about the Uplift World? And
the Uplift World was like kind of like my brother was getting into it and stuff. You might be familiar with him as a blockchain cards. So he's into the wax blockchain. He's doing all kinds of stuff with other projects, making cards and helping them get their physical products out there. But he mentioned that he was talking to Corey Trell about
he's
getting
the one who made t-shirts, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, those are the alpha wings. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have some of those in my inventory in wax. But yeah, like he was telling me that I guess there was like a tweet, I guess, that they put out like, well, there's some super secret I think it was a Telegram group or something. Join this if you have a wax project or whatever. So I joined that group and just like kind of like sat in the background, kind of like seeing what everyone was doing, whatever what it was all about. And then I guess there was a time when it was like a call to actually request if your project could be included in one of the worlds. And that was something I would really like to do because I haven't really like branched out and like, maybe like did like a serious collaboration with another project on wax, like in a serious like matter. So that was like perfect because it was like a big hodgepodge of like all the different creative projects everyone was doing and all the different ideas everyone was coming up with. It was just like very interesting to see like even how it evolved from when it started to like even now, like like the Genesis worlds and how those are all starting to develop. And you're starting to see everyone like basically like set up shop and like get their stuff going, and it's really cool and interesting to see all the different ideas out there.
Yeah, so here's your site. I like what you guys are. I think these are really cool designs. These kaleidoscope, types of images. I'm kind of like, it reminds me. I used to have this like toy when I was a kid. I don't know if it's a toy, but I used to have this toy when I was a kid that like you could use different like shapes inside of like a toothed circle, and you would put a pen in a different hole, and when you move the pen, then the fork. It reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of curious.
It's called like a spiroscope or something.
Yeah. So these are like when I first saw some of these ones with the lines, right? Like obviously there's more detailed ones as well. But when I first saw these ones with the lines, it kind of reminded me of that. I'm just kind of curious, like what the inspiration was for coming up.
It was kind of like how to do something that's hard to like sure, other people could do the same thing if they have Photoshop and they know how to do like mirroring and stuff like that. But it's basically like something that's hard to duplicate, and it's something that like the original, like the base kaleidoscopes are meant to be burnt. So it's like kind of like I wouldn't say a throwaway NFT, but it's like an NFT that's not really meant to be viewed for long because you're supposed to burn them to get these eternal spirits. So if you take like those base ones, like so far in the set, only the common NFTs are of 10. You'll gain augmented reality, like a eternal spirit NFT, which contains a QR code which you're able to scan with your iPhone or your iPad, and you'll be able to see like audio visual AR experience that's interactive, and you could just like sit there and view it, and then you could kind of like tap the elements within the scene, and like things will happen, things will like orbit around you or float around and stuff like that. So it's pretty trippy.
Yeah, I like it. It's like really interesting to me. Just
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I was going to ask. So then, when we get to the augmented, sorry, Jesus, I can't speak. When we get to the, that's what I get for having a nap at 3 p.m. When you get to augmented reality, you can burn the group base 10s, base 10 groups, and unlock the Eternal Spirit NFT. And it contains an augmented video reality scene. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that's really interesting. Like what kind of video, I mean the video kind of I can kind of imagine in my head, but what kind of audio do you put behind these things? Is it music? Is it commentary? Is it speech? Is it words of eternal wisdom?
Kind of. It's almost like kind of like a. I describe them as like the song of the spirit. So like each song is like almost like maybe a story, but it's like not like in a language. It's like a story told like through the tonality in the song, and the rhythm or maybe the cadence of the song. So like when you listen to it, it's almost like that spirit is communicating to you through the actual like the notes of the music, as opposed to like the words of the lyrics.
It's very cool. I like it. I'm kind of interested. Callie, do you have any questions?
It must be really trippy to actually watch that, like the 3D with
really
the Kaleidoscope.
Cool. The only thing is they work on the iPhone and iPad, so it's kind of like a walled experience at the moment.
Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm keen on trying to watch one of those videos.
And there are I think there is a video. If you go to my Instagram page, you should be able to see. I think I took a video in my backyard of one of the scenes of it, because it's basically like a big scene. Like you need to be in a good space to actually view these things. You can't just be like like in a small confined space and view it. You have to be like in a field or somewhere in like an open park or something, and like truly enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd like to see that. Maybe we can do that at the end. I wanted to jump in, and because I don't have your Instagram open, but I wanted to jump in and give you a chance to go into your plot. I think you got it pulled up already. So why don't we do that? And you can kind of show us around. I think you guys are in Genesis, I believe.
Yep. So this is like the top. This is the very top of the map that you can get here. I just started this out because you could like farm snow. So I kind of have a little platform where you can get snow.
That's a very tall mountain.
You're at the top of the server?
Yeah, so this is like the very like this block here is like the very top. So after this you can't build nothing.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that farming snow was a thing after you got to
you can. Top. It's like it's at a certain level. I'm not sure what it is, but this is like at the very top. I'm not sure like exactly what level it starts at. But there's a level at which at the certain height snow starts to appear on soil or dirt.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So here's a view from the top. We'll go down real quick. So far, being a survival map, what I've done so far in the central location is I built all kinds of the renewable resources and everything, so I could easily get like colored wool.
Oh, they seem really organized.
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is hopefully, like I put out, like a FYI on my Telegram the other day, asking if any projects wanting to, develop or do anything on the edges of this, because right now what I'm doing is I'm clearing up all the land, and I'm seeing like exactly what I have, and I'm kind of like preserving like the lake, like the rivers, because eventually what I'm going to have is all these like waterways at the bottom. So there's like lazy rivers at the bottom, and then there'll be like maybe ice like expressways at the top to like crisscross through the map, so you can kind of get to the different areas and maybe even like the neighboring, zones and all that stuff. So right now, let's jump down. Oh no! All right, so here's the inside. This is basically where I'm kind of like sloppily holding everything right now.
Pre-organized warehouse.
We got a little bit of a kind of like a bee farm here. Hold on, let's see here. And everything's kind of rough because what I did in the beginning is I usually like maintain a lot of renewable resources, and then I'll kind of like flesh everything out and refine like buildings, and so eventually this will like be like a barn where you go into. So this is like my renewable colored wool farm. So you can go in here and like all these sheep are sheared automatically with all the different redstone mechanics and the shears. You can just go down here and collect all your colored wool. And right now it's like just gathering.
That's something constantly. I should probably do.
Right. Yeah, I'm seriously lacking in that.
Yeah, like one thing that's cool is just like it'll just keep going and going as long as you have your shears up here, because the shears will run out over time. But like one set of shears will grant you like maybe, I don't know, like a bunch of blocks of whatever color you're using. So there's that, and I got like the mushrooms, and even like I lucked out, and like in the very middle of my plot, I found a zombie spawner. So I was able to make like a little XP farm. So early on, I was able to like enchant items and get all kinds of like crazy stuff in the beginning, like so I could mine without having to constantly repair my stuff.
Wow. And I have a question. Were you already like a Minecraft player before, or did you just figure all this out?
Yeah, I've played before, because it's always been like kind of a game I played off and on throughout the years. So I'm kind of familiar with the mechanics and how to make, like the monster spawners and how to get like resources and gather them efficiently. And I don't know.
Yeah,
how to geek out on Minecraft.
Accumulated like quite a bit of infrastructure in your plot there. That's quite cool.
And like what my goal is for this one is to have like like multi-layered like traffic. So like there'll be foot traffic for like the first like the sea level will be like people walking around and using the boats, and like the top levels will be like faster and faster travel methods like the ice bridges and stuff like that. And like right here we have chickens, like with that bee farm. I don't know if you guys knew, but you could basically like use the honey to make like the honey blocks, and the honey blocks will stick mobs to the floor, so you can make like creature pens where the mobs can't jump up above like a gate or even like the first level of blocks.
I didn't know that. So that's kind of okay. That's interesting, because that will, also prevent people from maybe stealing your mobs too, right?
No one steal your chickens, but the only downfall is if you fall in there, you get stuck in there yourself, so you'll die and you'll get crushed by all the chickens in there. And this right here is like an automatic chicken cooker. So like what happens here is there's a clock here that will trigger whenever whenever an egg passes through, and it'll basically cook these chickens whenever they grow to full maturity. And it'll just drop off all like the cooked chicken and all the eggs if those fall through.
It's really, I need to learn more about automation. That's the one thing that I'm like.
That's one really cool thing about Minecraft and the redstone aspect of everything, is how you could automate like your farms and gathering and all kinds of interesting stuff. You can make like you can make like light shows where you make like a whole wall, and the wall kind of changes with like the redstone switches. So you like have like a weird design, so it like kind of shifts and like moves to like one picture to another. That's one thing I was looking into. And here's my I guess I could say like my unofficial chicken caw homage.
Nice.
Made out of wool, fresh from the wool from my wool farm.
Yeah, it's in the right proportions as well. Looks pretty cool.
Yep. And what you got here is like here's like the beginning of like the river. So basically I'll have like kind of like a moat that surrounds like the central resource area, I guess you can call it. And then like all the surrounding areas will be like all like these grandiose builds, and hopefully, other projects will like, want to build like an ambassador building or some kind of like representation of their project, like along the borders of this map.
Yeah, cool.
So like your central plot, do you still plan to just keep it as a resource, focused plot like that, or you're gonna eventually just turn it into something else?
Well, because eventually it'll be like, so people can get resources, like, give people wool if they need it to, spruce up their builds. So it'll basically be like like not like how they have it in like London, where they have like their crazy London shops. Like it'll be kind of like more of a mellow, like resource place. So if someone was here or someone found their way over here, they'd be able to get a lot of resources that they could use to build.
That's super nice.
Honestly, like Gratitude server in general seems to have that aspect from a lot of the projects that we've actually interviewed, Kelly. A lot of people in Gratitude are thinking along the same lines. It's like, let their communities come in, help them out, show them how to do stuff, which is really interesting. This is one hell of a storage area too that you got there.
Yep, that's like pretty much the main. And then I recently did some nether exploration down here.
Callie, I don't know how much I can trust this guy. I'm just going to be honest. Like when somebody comes in here and says like, "Oh yeah, I played once or twice, a couple times before," and he's got like this automated stuff like that's going on here, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Pool hustler, Minecraft hustler.
No, I mean there's some really deep. I didn't realize that this was here actually, because I'm on the bottom of the Gratitude map. I think Callie might be a little bit closer, but like, yeah, this is the reason that we're doing these shows, is because a lot of this stuff we might not have even known was part of it, right? Like you've built a lot out. It's looking really good, mate.
Yeah, one thing I did recently was I made like a gateway into the Nether where you don't get killed by mobs as soon as you get into here, and like plus like I like spawned into an area where there's all those gigantic like lava monsters, whatever the hell those are. So I basically like tunneled in and just made this little pathway where you can like get to the top and just mine out all kinds of stuff. And it also has like a pathway into, I'm not sure what kind of forest it is, but there's like all these different forest biomes that have like different trees and all kinds of different like even lights.
Those are kind of new to Minecraft, right?
Yeah, there's like these like fungus trees that they have lights. So like it's if you don't have access to sea lanterns, you can like mine these like lights that are up here.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and sea lanterns are pretty hard to get, I suppose. Like you need to have the water temples and all, and fight the boss in there. It's a lot of work, but those are pretty easy to harvest. And I've actually gotten a couple of those and installed in my plot in Chicken Kai as well. They're really handy.
Yep. Yeah, it's just funny, just like small things, just patience and making pathways. You could just do all kinds of efficient stuff without getting killed like every 2 seconds, especially like in the survival world.
Yeah, that's definitely useful.
Is that like when you were a player back in the day, was that always your preference? It was your preference to be in survival? Like that's something that...
yeah, because in survival, it's more like everything's earned and everything's kind of like you have to play to get it. And it's like everything is more like etched in your brain because you're putting out more effort to build your stuff, to gather your resources. You kind of like map out the world a little bit more in your brain. Like with on creative, you're just like free for all. Like you just like build whatever you want and go crazy. Like that's why I've kind of like withheld on building on creative for now, because I know once I start doing that, I could just build on creative really quick. So I've kind of been concentrating more on the survival world, because I know once I start going to creative, I could just whip up some stuff really, really fast. That'll be really cool, like in the Genesis world.
Yeah, I see Martin in the comments. Martin was giving us a hard time the other day on our show. So I'm going to ask you if you're a true survivalist. Martin was curious about, or Martin was stating like, when were we going to turn on? When were we going to turn on block damage? When a mob explodes and like the blocks in your plot are affected,
destroyed.
Right? So what's your take on that? Because Martin's saying like if there's no block damage, then it's not true survival.
I would say that.
I think he's just taking the piss.
I would say the truer you keep it to like vanilla and survival, the better, because then that kind of like makes you like build in an orientation to kind of protect what you've built, instead of like building something and thinking it's going to be okay, because you never know when that creeper might come sneaking up behind you and blow up. So you kind of like it gives you that extra added that sense of your like your 360 environment, to like make sure you're aware of what you're doing and how you're building your stuff and how to build it with longevity.
I still think like it really comes down to preference and to what focus people have when they're in world and building it and what they're trying to evolve, right? And develop.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, like for sure, I agree with what you're saying and with Morten as well. When it comes down to survival, like, you know, core, like you just want a game kind of thing. You want to feel that you're earning everything that you do and all that. But then on the other hand, like if people just, that could be a halfway there where people still need to eat and kill mobs and do things like that, but they just
Right.
don't want to have the actual structure that they built destroyed. And in order to do that, like you mentioned, they would need to really be concerned about how they build stuff and where to put lights on and everything.
Right.
But not always that gives them the most freedom to design stuff, right? Sometimes your design doesn't require a lot of torches on the ground, for example, but if you don't have them, then you're going to have mobs and then you're going to have other issues, right? So
Yes.
there's always like both sides of things, I think.
Like,
Yeah,
like
well,
this guy's about to kill me.
Yeah, well, Martin,
Be
it looks like you got
careful,
two
mine.
people. You needed to get you need to get a lot more, but you got two. You got Anders and you got Tim, so that's good. I'm kind of impressed. I don't actually think we've ever had anyone on this show walk us into their nether before. Have we?
Oh, I'd actually like to show you something else too, because in Genesis, I have like all these like 50 by 50 plots peppered all over the place, and what I'm going to do is make kaleidoscopes on each one of those plots. So here, check this out. Cool.
Yeah, I like this plot. It's pretty cool with all the rivers. They're all natural,
Thank
right?
you. That's like the beginning of it, pretty much. So like in Genesis, so now we're in Genesis, and you'll see like these gardens. So it looks like a inconspicuous garden, nothing too fancy. But you go into the center of this, and you'll see like a little bamboo, like little pond. And what you do is you go down in here, but this only works with shaders. Keep in mind, like if you have regular Minecraft with no shaders or anything, you're not really going to get the full effect. But this is basically what you see. Like if you travel down these waterways,
this already looks like a kaleidoscope, right?
Yeah, you see these like kaleidoscope type things here, and they're all going to be different. Like this is like the first one that's like green.
Oh, this is good. Yaogi is gonna love this because Yaogi posted a video. I see him in the comments as well. He posted a video on Twitter traveling through something like this of one of his plots, and this is like really cool actually. Like I want videos of that, like that.
Yeah, so I basically hollowed this out because what I want to do is eventually I'm going to have Jen come in here and just put all kinds of like a tapestry of all the different stickers and all the stuff that I have. So that'll be like all around the walls, and then like eventually there'll be like another like lake where people could ride their boats down here, just trip out on all the different artwork on the walls.
This is super cool because it really shows the synergy between this plot and your project, right? Like that's super.
Yeah,
nice.
and like, it was kind of weird because I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? Because like I basically got like a bunch of TNT and I hollowed out my whole plot. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And like I'm like, oh, my project's kaleidoscope. Why don't I just build like a giant kaleidoscope? And just like put them all over the map, like, and everyone will be different. So like what I'm gonna do is like every month, everyone will be able to like come to the kaleidoscope and claim like a specific NFT based on that tower, that construction.
Hey, so this is 50 by 50. That's the whole 50 by 50 plot that you created that in. Okay. So how many of these do you have over in Genesis?
I'm not sure. I have like a bunch just peppered all over the Genesis map. And this is like one of the first ones that I actually fleshed out.
Okay. Yeah. So in addition to this show that Callie and I are doing, I've also been doing some write-ups on the blogs with some cool builds, and we're definitely gonna have to put some of these on the blog. Like I want to see. I'm so demanding today. This is how awesome it is. I've love
been doing
to
some
see
experimentation with lights and different glass panes and whatever. So you could do all kinds of like interesting stuff with like how the reflections go off and.
Like video, I would love to see some videos of these that we could populate on our blog and just show like what's possible. If you wouldn't mind taking some of those, like I think that would be awesome. Just even if you link them on your YouTube, then we could link them into the blog. like I just think that would be really cool, and we could do a whole, you know, it's based on the person, but it's also based on the project. So we could do a whole series on like all of the Kaleidoscope builds. I would love to do that. I'll send you the thing later. And then the cool thing is you would actually be, if you did that in the next, you know, week or so, you would probably actually be the first person to do both a Journeys episode here with Cowie and I, and the blog, which would give you, you know, premier bragging rights for that. That's good.
I know how to Minecraft a little.
Yes, right. I mean, you also get premier bragging laws for, you know, being dishonestly humble. No, this is good. It's really good. I'm really impressed. I like that Kaleidoscope thing a lot. The plot was cool too. The Nether was cool. I mean, like, please take your time. Like give me like 2 weeks and everything you got. Like, let's put this on the blog, because this is a brilliant idea, and I don't think, you know, other than Yaugi, who did a similar thing on one of his plots. This is a really cool thing that I think could become a tourist attraction in Genesis, if I'm honest about it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
because like that's what it's going to be geared towards. Like, they'll have like an incentive. So like every month, you know, it'll be like a drop that'll be limited to like a wallet. So you'll be able to come here and claim it, and then, you know, add it to your collection, put it on the secondary, or keep it for a future burn or blend or something.
I mean, and think about it this way, right? Like, go through that, put that on a video, go through that and put that on a video, and then, you know, watch that video, and it's going to look like you're moving, but then somehow put that video into VR and run on a treadmill. What's that going to be like? Like, this is going to be nuts. Right?
Yeah, it'll be motion sickness.
Right.
I mean, Minecraft
yeah.
VR.
You'd probably like fall off in the first couple of steps.
No, I heard if you're actually moving, it's okay, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's how you get the motion sickness, is because your body isn't moving, but your visual senses are moving. So it kind of like throws your body off. So it's like, woo. And you have to have, there's even like VR legs where, like, you know, you'll play for a certain amount of time, and you could like just be immersed in the world for like hours on end, where some people can like, you maybe go in there for like 20 minutes under like an extreme, you know, 3D experience. So it does get pretty intense at times.
I've actually felt something like that before already, like in a couple of times that I've done VR, and it was like that. You were supposed to I did this thing. I think it was a promotion on what was it? I think it was South Korea, if I'm not wrong. No, sorry, it was Taiwan, and it was a Taiwan tourism booth in a mall. And then you went there. It was just about promoting, like, you know, some tourist attractions and why you would visit Taiwan. And they had this little thing that was about virtual reality, and it would take you around like these tourist attractions, and it would do things, and it would interact with a little, you know, gun thing that was actually a fishing rod or something. And it was interesting, but you were standing the whole time. And a couple of times when the platform moved up or, you know, started to go around, you would really feel like it would almost just fall like face front or just fall backwards, because it feels like you should be moving, but you're not, right?
Yep.
And it's really funny, the whole thing. My wife kind of tripped. She did it as well, and she kind of tripped back once and just, like it felt like she was going to fall. And watching someone doing that in VR is just really weird, because you feel like them losing their balance and just getting all lost when they're just standing, you know. It's
because
really
people, I think what it is people take it for granted that, you know, they think, oh, it's just a video game, and they go into it and it's so immersive, and it's like almost like one-to-one reality, getting close to it. So like you're in there, and it's like that fact that like, oh man, this is actually pretty realistic. And it's like, you know, people get like that fear, they start getting like the jitters, or start to get the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
or like
true.
Fall face first on the freaking headset.
I've never tried it, actually. I've never done it. But like, I ride the trains a lot, and sometimes it's really boring. So like the subway, especially, because you can't see anything. I just think it'd be really cool to like ride the train and put your like kaleidoscope up there as I'm going from one station to the next. I mean, I'm moving. I don't know how that works.
No, one thing that would be cool, because like, you know how all the plots have maybe subterranean levels. What would be really cool is if there was like an underground, like if all the different plots kind of gathered together and made like a subterranean like infrastructure where it was like an underground rail or some kind of thing like that, where it was like, like a cooperative built rail amongst all the different projects that, wanted to do that, as opposed to just having that one, main rail system. You could have like a community rail system that's like a subterranean rail system that like goes through and kind of like showcases all the different projects art. So like as you go through, you kind of see like, the Kaleidoscope series, the Uplift series, and you just see like, just like the whole tapestry of everything. And all you got to do is hop on the train and, go for a ride and just, see all the different creative projects and what everyone's doing, just like chilling out and sitting and, viewing around. Like each direction has different art from all the different people.
Yeah. That sounds like something that would be successful in the Uplift, I'd say.
I'm just pondering use cases for it now. Like, where can we put like I don't know, when you take a portal from one world to another, like, can you go through this? Because that would be cool, right? Like that's like some serious sci-fi stuff, right? Like I took my daughter today. We went out because I wanted to check some stuff out at the electronics shop, and so we decided to have a bite to eat. And she's 1.5, right? And so we got out of the restaurant. And she wanted to walk around a little bit, and there's this really like not that long. It's like one floor, but it's a high ceiling escalator. And she took it up, and then she refused to go anywhere else after there because she wanted to go down again, right? And then she like went up again, and then she went down again. And then we found an escalator that was like, 10 floors without stopping, right? Like it goes from like floor 10 to floor 5 without stopping. So it's a really long escalator. She almost fell because like she was really excited to be on an escalator that long. But like I feel inside of my bones and inside of my veins like as much excitement and joy as she must have been feeling with that escalator by like running around Genesis and finding the rest of these freaking Kaleidoscope things. So they really want to know where they are now. They're really cool, man. Like I'm a really big fan, honestly. Like
right on.
I just looking at this, I'm just like,
yeah, this is just the first one. And it's not even completely built.
Yeah,
we're almost there.
I like it. This is one of my favorite things that I've seen in the Uplift thus far. Can we do it again? Just one more time, please?
Yeah. What the
I just really like it. It's really good.
We'll do it from the top.
Yeah, everyone take a deep breath and
that's the thing. Like it'll basically be like once this is fleshed out, like each layer will have like a different color scheme. So as you go down it'll kind of like just gradually change the different color schemes. I
see. So the plan, you're actually going to fill this area at the top all in as well.
It'll be like a whole kaleidoscope. So you can either enter the kaleidoscope from the very top and go down to the bottom, or you can go enter through that little secret bamboo garden and just go straight to the boats.
That's really cool.
Yep. Then you could spin around.
I think you're frozen. No, there you're back again. Okay, got it. No, you're okay. We got it.
Still alive through the miracle of science.
All right.
Through the miracle of computer science and technology.
All right.
Yeah, so eventually this will be pretty cool, and they'll all be different colors. So like one will be green, one will be red. It'll all just be different kaleidoscopes peppered around. So like you'll see these towers. They're not pickle towers, but they're kaleidoscope towers. And they'll be a wonder to see.
Oh wait, is the pickle tower
the only show? This is the first show we did at this time, Jimmy. But this was the only show that should have been done on the time that we could have a drink as well and just watch this,
Right? This is like the worst time.
When I first built it, I must have went up and down this thing for an hour straight. Like, whoa, this is actually pretty trippy.
Yeah, this is really
I can only imagine
man.
what other people think about it.
So how do you maybe you don't want to give the secrets away, but like, is this something that you when you build this, is this something that you you plan out, or it's just something that comes together, right? Are you like, I want to exchange, like I want to have it these color palettes, these patterns, or you just go in there and you build and you see like what looks good? And
I think like for the most part, I think like when you're building in Minecraft, unless you're like you have something like you're set on something, I think most things in Minecraft kind of build themselves, and you're just there putting the blocks there. So it's like kind of like I said when I first started this one, I cleared out like all the land with TNT, and And then I wondered like, oh, what do I do with this thing? And like, it just dawned on me like it made sense to make like kaleidoscope buildings. So I like figured out about like, all right, so what does water look like when you fall down a hole? Like, what do the colors look like when you orient them a certain way? And basically like originally this was like one of those beams or one of the beacons that shot up with water like directly over it. And I was like, I went down it and like, oh, that doesn't look so good. So then, space them out a little and they look a little bit better. And kind of the symmetry goes into play with the water and the shaders and everything. So everything kind of, it was like almost like a happy accident, really, just like messing around and like visually seeing what was appealing and what like ultimately looked pretty cool, and just kind of went.
Yeah, I like it that you put all this effort into the thought process as well, though, and experimentation, because the end result is super cool, and it wouldn't be that way if you didn't try all these things, right? So.
Yeah, and you have to use shaders too. So like if you're just running, Minecraft without your optimizers and shaders, you're not going to get the full effect. So you have to have, your shaders updated and installed for whatever version this is.
Yeah.
It's like 1.6 for
so it won't work if you're, it won't work. It won't work on the
and this
vanilla,
was another
right?
thing too. Like where you see all the sea lanterns that kind of just like, once every other block, like you could change the color of that. You could like put like, stained glass in front of those and change the color. So like as you're moving up, you kind of see different colors. So like they won't all be the same. It won't all be that like, that white light. So there's all kinds of interesting things that could be done with this.
You know what I just thought as well? Like it's really interesting because for a second there, now that you were going up, I felt like you were going down because this room is just kind of really symmetric, And
it's almost like
if you're just watching the stream, you can't really tell like which way is up or down.
Yep. It's like if you ever been to Universal
like
Studios in Hollywood, they have this room that rotates a certain way, and you go through it on a tram, and it kind of looks like you're almost like entering the tunnel at like a tilt, but you're actually like moving forward because like it's like tricking your brain. It's like a optical illusion like tunnel or something like that they're using. But yeah, like I look forward to fleshing these out and making all the different all the different color schemes, and just. You'll be flying around the Uplift and you'll be able to see these like just all over the place. Like, what the hell is that? Like, oh, that's one of those, Kaleidoscope buildings. Go check it out. Get a free NFT.
All right. I mean, do you have ideas for the free NFTs? Like, I think it'd be really cool if it.
Well, it'll be like videos, like you said. Like maybe I could capture a video and then maybe make like a loop of the actual, the travel downward and upward.
Mm-hmm.
And just add some effects to it.
You could even add, a couple of effects or something just to make it look cool. I mean, it already looks super cool.
I enjoyed building it, and this was like one of the first builds I did too. Because like I had like a bunch of plots, and I was like mapping out everything that I had, and I was like, this is like one of the spots that was kind of like being developed at the time, I think by a couple people. So I just built here.
Mm-hmm.
Does this kaleidoscope? I don't even know what you're gonna call it. It's I don't know, living kaleidoscope maybe. Does this living kaleidoscope have a name? Like are you gonna put something on the top of the tower, or are you just gonna write like not a pickle because it's green?
It's like not a pickle secret garden. Number 1.
Okay. The other cool thing about this as well is like just by orienting yourself, right? You can change it from a square to a diamond, right? Like just that 1/8 of a clock turn, right? Like that's
yes. It's pretty trippy stuff.
Yeah, it's really well done, man. And I really like the creativity around making that resonate with your project. It's super, super cool.
Yeah, it's like weird how it just all makes sense. Kind of, because it's like basically like the project involves just the weird kaleidoscopic designs and stuff like that, and now people could actually come to this metaverse and actually travel and visit multiple kaleidoscopes and like trip out on them and just maybe trip out in the lazy river at the bottom and see whoever else is there.
Yeah, I mean, I want you to come back, but like, we're gonna have to hold this off until the end because you kind of blew my mind. So now I kind of got nothing. I'm in this weird like trans-like phase where like I can't connect to like anything that I'm supposed to be connecting it with. Yeah, I think you're. Is that what? Where? Where are you? What's in the background there? Is that like a giant?
But oh, that's my curing station. Here, check this out.
Oh, I didn't mean your background. I meant the background on the screen.
Oh, that's just the Kaleidoscope stuff.
No. The other way, that rail. It looked almost like M-Blue's. It looked almost like M-Blue's spaceship thing, but
let's go see.
Yeah, let's go see. Why not? Oh, you know what else we have to? You know what else we have to do? It's a giant chicken, maybe. You know what else we have to do that we forgot to do yesterday, Cowie? We forgot to do one of the most important things. We forgot to do gratitudes. That's a clown. That's a little bit.
That
freaky.
Is true. Yeah, it's a clown. I was gonna say, looks like a clown.
That's good. I like it. And yeah, something big. I guess
it's a water slide.
That's cool.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Do you need a boat? I guess maybe not. I don't know. I guess it works without a boat. You might need a boat. But that's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah. So one of the things that we like to do, obviously, is we like to get walked around your plots from your perspective, from your viewpoint, because that's something that Cowie and I kind of decided was really good to like not just get told where to go, but to actually get. Is that for me? Thank you. I guess I get like
the freedom to show us whatever they want, right?
Right, and then we get to see like your perspective in that. And the second thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to wonder if like we could put some gratitudes up somewhere on your plot and just kind of like commemorate this day if you were down for that. I don't know if you already have a gratitude monument. It could be on the Genesis. It could be on the gratitude. It could be wherever. Whatever you think, wherever you think would be cool. We would love to be able to do that because I've got one hell of a gratitude now.
We could build this will be the gratitude wall on the first Kaleidoscope revealed to the public.
I like it. Yeah.
So this is where we will gather all of our gratitudes and banter that anyone would wish to post here.
Sometimes my computer is really slow, and I was trying to do gratitudes because Corey's computer wasn't working the other day, and it was with Miss Teen Crypto, I think, and it just wasn't working the way that I wanted it to, and so I gave up after 3 blocks. So there's a gratitude monument of just like 1, 2, 3 blocks, and Corey just laughed so hard, and he's like, "We're just gonna keep it. Like everything else is gonna be like 9 blocks, but we're just gonna keep this 3 one. It's so cute." Very cool. That's cool. Kelly, you want to go? You're up.
Sure. I'm grateful for Tim's willingness to create. Nice.
All right.
I'm not sure how I want to word this, but I'm grateful for living kaleidoscopic uplift adventures. You might have to jump that next one.
That's a long word. What was the last one?
Uplift adventures. But adventures might not work, so we could do uplift travels if adventures doesn't work. It might work. Cool. And actually, if it will actually fit because I do this all the time. I know this. Jimmy D's. If you put an apostrophe S and grateful fits in there perfectly. So you can say Jimmy D's grateful. It fits because I counted them out on my fingers. Fits perfectly. I know it.
It does.
How about you, Tim? What are you grateful for today, brother?
What am I grateful for? I am grateful to the Uplift and all of the creatives that are openly sharing their ideas and not being afraid of creativity.
That's definitely not going to fit on a sign. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious about that too. Morton's, I'll let you finish here. Sorry, concentration is difficult.
That is what I'm grateful for. Uplifters not afraid of creativity.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Morton is asking a question. He's curious what shader you're using now. I have a follow-up question to that. Like, have you tried it with different shaders? Like, because you said it only works with shaders, right? So my assumption is that when you change the shaders, actually the kaleidoscopes themselves would change too, right?
Yeah, depending on the type of like graphics.
I think especially the resource pack, right?
Yeah, because right now I'm using Optifine for the like the version that's compatible with the Uplift servers. So it's like 1.6 something Optifine. I'd have to look that up. But that's the thing you have to do, because I guess the Uplift servers run on one of the earlier versions of Minecraft, so you have to make sure you run your shaders that are compatible with that version, or else they won't work properly.
Just one version earlier, I believe, if I'm correct. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think we were up to date until just recently. I believe it's 1.6.
Yeah, we're 116.5.
Yeah.
And now it's already at 117, which is the one that's got some new stuff, new caves and new things like that.
Oh yeah, it's like all the crystals and all the different the colors
different for minerals.
Yeah. You can actually use fortune now on certain things.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I'm not too sure. Like, even because that's an interesting question for whenever we do update. I don't know how that's going to go. Because, for example, this new update on Minecraft 1.17 onwards, they increased the depth of the world as well, as far as I understood.
Right.
So there's bigger caves that go all the way down deep, and they have different minerals and stuff. But for our worlds, like, they have already been rendered the way they are, so they wouldn't just get re-rendered to include the caves, right? So I'm not sure if it would affect them at all.
Right. I think I was reading
maybe
something
just
related
with
to
new
that.
mobs and new things like that.
Yeah, like I was reading something that like right along the lines of that, and I think what they're doing is if you haven't explored those chunks, like if those chunks haven't been rendered out in that server, they will render out as the new bottom and top levels. But if they've already been rendered out, they're basically rendered out. So that's like you're stuck with that rendered out chunk.
It would only affect us like for mobs spawning and for new mobs and things like that, but not necessarily for natural world changes and generations.
But new worlds, it would affect those.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we spawn up a new server, so a new a new survival server, then would be interesting, because some of those new worlds, then those would plug those new minerals, those new objects like into that, which would create like even in a way it would create like a bigger economy, like a bigger economic plug-in, because all of a sudden now people in London or people in Uplift, they might want to bring some resources from that world back to there, or from here back to over there. Like, there's some interesting ideologies, I think, that come around with just putting Minecraft and ownership on the blockchain, in itself, right? So, I mean, looking at it from a 5 or 10 or 15 year perspective down the line, provided we're still using Minecraft, because maybe something else comes that we do have the ability to port everything that we're doing like into another world if we decide to do that at some point way down the road, right? And so it kind of would be interesting to see, because I think Minecraft, as Kawi mentioned on one of our previous shows, is like the most game played in the world, or something, like the most played game in the world, or something like that.
Right, or the most downloaded game in the world.
Yeah. And so, like, as it continues to develop, I'm sure they're going to be adding new things, right? Like, that's what these companies
that's what Microsoft's doing. They're fleshing out all their microtransactions and doing all kinds of interesting stuff with other IPs. Like recently, they just released some like Sonic the Hedgehog like pack. where it has like Sonic the Hedgehog top levels and stuff like that. So they're starting to like rejuvenate their IP with different properties and texture packs and stuff like that. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of that. So like eventually, as you start seeing pop culture properties come out, you'll start seeing those slowly being introduced into the Minecraft world, like Rick and Morty and all kinds of like cartoons and just anything that has some kind of popularity amongst large numbers of people. Basically, it'll fall into the vortex of Minecraft.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Minecraft can, if you think about it, can be expanded in almost any way. It's just that game or any of these voxel games, right? Like the concept of using voxels is just you have a limitless creativity potential, right? Like because it's just literally it doesn't matter how big the block is. Like in Minecraft is that standard size, which is I guess around like a meter in the real world or whatever it is.
Right.
But if you could make them smaller or bigger, but it's just the idea of pixels that you can just put together and then they would create anything you'd like, right? So just that concept is like you can grow anywhere. You just change textures and you change interactions, gravity, whatever physics in the game, but the concept is just putting things together in any way you want, right?
Yes, and that's how like all the pixel art and all that stuff is like a real perfect fit for the Minecraft aesthetic. Cause like even earlier today, I went around the Genesis map. And I was starting to see all the different, pixel art from all the different classic video games. Like you see like the Mario and the different Pokemon, and you start seeing everyone, fleshing out their different plots with all the different pixel art. So that's pretty cool. It's really cool to see that kind of stuff. Or even like like how Jen has those gigantic murals with all the lights and just the different blocks like all over the place, like a tapestry, and just looking all like this. It's like visually appealing, and so it's like not like one bland color. It's like wow, like your eyes are actually. You're actually getting some kind of visual stimulation from this stuff.
You haven't put up any of your Kaleidoscope images yet, have you?
I don't think so. No.
I think that'll be cool too, right? Like, I mean, it's gonna be okay. I mean, it's like now that I've seen the living, moving Kaleidoscope, like just a still images.
Yeah, I recently made some pretty trippy ones. Like there's one I recently been starting to like experiment with the nifty blocks and like all their pack functionality. And I recently created it's called the Void Master Visions. So it's basically like it's like a simple pack to kind of like get the feel of it and see how everything works once it's like deployed. So I made these like 3 different cards, and they have 3 different variants. So it's like a static variant, and then like a motion variant, and then an AR variant. So basically you have the like the AR variant will allow you to view like a box. So like you'll scan the QR code and you'll see like this room. So like you'll scan the floor and it'll activate the scene. But once the scene activates, you're like encased in this gigantic box, and like each corner of the box is like that kaleidoscope, and it's meshed together, so it's like it looks like one room. So you look around in all 360 degrees up and down, and you'll see you're like stuck inside of this like kaleidoscopic room with like music playing. I don't know. It's like an interesting experience. It's better to be experienced.
That sounds trippy ass, man.
Because you look like that guy on that chart, like explaining stuff like all crazy.
I mean, I like the idea of like a kaleidoscopic maze too. That would be fun.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm doing now, is experimenting with like actual augmented reality spaces. So like instead of making like something that you look at and wow, look, there it is, like some kind of statue or whatnot. Like now I'm trying to see like what can you do with AR, but like 3D spaces where you're like almost encased within the art or the moving picture. There's some kind of interactivity involved that goes beyond just the visual aspect of the piece.
I mean, I'm pretty easily distracted. Sorry, I'm not. It's interesting because I am, but I'm not. Like I live in a country that has like billboards everywhere that I'm pretty good at ignoring. But like, yeah, if that was on a highway somewhere, I would probably stop. I was thinking about this. You could be really fun and really cool. Is like, I found the bottom of the server once. I'm really happy about that because it was fun. But if you dig through the bottom of the server, you die, and it would be like an interesting type of kind of experiment, right? Like, just place some jelly at the bottom of the server somewhere, and like because if you land on jelly, if you land on jelly, right, you bounce. But like just randomly, and like there's a good chance that like you're not going to land on the jelly, and you're just going to fall out of the bottom of the server and you're going to die, which would be a cool experience in itself. But if you bounce off the jelly, then that's when you get the NFT, right? Like it's like a lottery. Test your luck today, right? Like it's like,
that's right.
You're never going to know where it is. So
luck of the draw.
I like it.
All right, so I'll show you one piece that's pretty interesting. There's one. It's called Elephant in the Room. So this was like one of my first, I guess, high-end pieces. You guess that I successfully sold on Atomic Hub way back when, I think in February. But this was a one-of-a-kind piece called Elephant in the Room. But what it includes is this, it includes the NFT, wow. And it also includes the moving image. Let's see.
That's really cool. It reminds me of those. It almost reminds me of one of those. That's really cool. The previous view, it almost reminds me of one of those. What were they called? Those like magic eye books. We actually had to look really close to pull the 3D image out, right?
Right. It's the magic eye you don't have to cross your eyes for.
Right.
That's how
it's a magic eye that crosses your eyes for you.
Yeah, maybe. Potato.
I mean, so that's the elephant in the room. It's right there.
Yeah, but what's cool about this one is there's a QR code included with it. So when you scan that QR code, you'll actually see like that elephant, like a big representation of that elephant in your room, and then it'll be like sidewalled by like the moving images of this NFT. So that one was pretty cool.
That's cool. I like
wow,
it.
Man, that's really cool stuff. Well done.
Here's some stickers. I'm thinking of like which one would be a good example. Hold on, let me see. Because that one was pretty cool. I was really happy with how that one turned out.
Like you must have like a history with kaleidoscopes that like you're not telling us about. Like were you that kid that like when all the other kids were outside like playing video games, you had one of those ones that like you put up to your eye and you turn like where? And I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just like genuinely curious, right? Because you're super into kaleidoscopes. I want to know why.
I like how you said when all the kids are just outside playing video games.
Right.
Yeah, I was out there playing video games too and tripping out at the same time. Well, it's basically like it's like like in a rock concert, you'll see like the visualizations in the background or some kind of trippy, just something for people to look at or gawk at while they're all like spaced out or whatever. Like it's basically like it's like reminiscent to that. So it's like almost like they're all like, or as far as I try to do, like they're all like just like looping images of kaleidoscopic stuff. Like this one here is called the Kaleidocola. So this one's like a soda can that you can get from like PAX or burning these things called Kaleidotabs. But you'll scan the QR code, and that'll show you an augmented reality representation of that can, floating in 3D space. But it's like a huge can, and you hear like the can opening and all the fizz and whatever, and it like rotates, and you could click on it, and it kind of like flips around and has like a little bit of interactivity. So it's kind of like a it's almost like an NFT, but it has like kind of very very rudimentary interactivity included with it.
So it seems like rather than your childhood kaleidoscopic toy, it was more like your festival times that inspired you, like where people are just tripping over these crazy images.
Right.
And stuff.
So it's basically like an homage to like just any kind of visualization, like as far as like a rock concert would be concerned. But if you ever saw like a Grateful Dead concert or recording, they always have these trippy like weird like orbs and triangles and just stuff like floating around and just looking all weird. So it's kind of like a tip of the hat to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. One of my best friends, he's just fascinated with disco balls for whatever reason. So like I kind of get it, right? Like he just loves disco balls like everywhere.
Here, that's not too far. Here, let me show you this. Like basically what the eternal spirits are like spheres. So here, let me show you one of those. Those are pretty cool. I like these. Like this was like something that turned out pretty good. So what the eternal spirits are is basically like, these are what you get whenever you burn 10 base common kaleidoscopes. So like the very first one was kind of like rough and like it had like a static image, but hopefully this will boot up. Yeah, there we go. But once you burned it, like you would get this video, and it has like it's mixed with music and animation, and it has like that kaleidoscopic backdrop. But the cherry on the cake with these is that QR code that's also included with it. So like you could watch, you know, the visualization that's just a video, or you could also scan the QR code that's on the back. So like on the back image of the NFT, you'll see this QR code that you'll be able to scan with, you know, with your iPad or iPhone, and you'll be able to view. Like you'll be able to view that spherical spirit, and like the wings flying around it, the music playing in the background, and it's basically looks like this like ominous orb just floating in front of you, and you could interact with it by like you'll click the wings, and the wings will, you know, float around you and orbit you, and then once you actually tap the eternal spirit, it'll increase in size and it'll just float off into space, like float off into the sky.
I'm doing it now.
Yes, it's worth a watch. Like I like those things. They're pretty cool. Like I could imagine like sometime like with like a bunch of people like doing those all at once, you know, just like tripping out on them and releasing them into the sky, because that's basically like the point of them. They're eternal spirits. They're like the protectors of the cosmos. So what you're doing whenever you release the spirits is you're releasing these protector spirits into your, you know, your plane of the cosmos or your sector of the world.
Oh, this is cool. It's interesting. Somebody sent me something like this today and asked me for a favor, which I said I would totally do. I had never seen, man, seriously, am I like a Cowie? Are you like a paid actor? Am I like in the Truman Show? Like, that's what I feel like sometimes. I just learned about these kind of things today, actually. I never seen them, and now we're here, and I'm scanning this, and it's taking me to, like, you know, this AR site.
Oh, yeah, because it requires a Adobe Aero.
Adobe Aero, apparently.
Yeah, I'm doing that now, but my internet's super slow.
But it's pretty interesting. But here's another one, because this is the first one. So, like, as I started making these, they kind of got more and more, I guess, visually appealing with, like, all the different moving images.
Well, Cowie, check this out. This is the Adobe Aero like homepage thing, and there's like a bee flying around there. It's like this was made for us, Cowie.
If you have Adobe, like use Aero, because like you could basically do a lot of augmented reality stuff, like pretty simple, especially if you're like a sculptor and you have, you know, pre-existing 3D elements. It's like a really easy process.
I was wondering how complex it was. I was like, did you develop the whole AR website to get this visualized? But I didn't realize that Adobe Aero would be able to do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like pretty much like drag and drop, and like you have to have a little bit of knowledge of how to manipulate stuff in 3D space, and you know what all the different options do and what you could actually do with the interactivity, because they have like pre-built stuff where you could like actually control like avatars. So like you could like use one of their preset avatars, put it in that environment, and once you boot up that scene, you're controlling that avatar in that 3D space, like wherever you're at.
Jimmy disappears for like a month, and he comes back, and Cowie's like, "Where were you, man?" It's like, Tim said I needed to have like a little bit of, you know, understanding about space and time, so I was in the forest meditating. I was trying to, you know, unlock that part of my downfall.
Yeah, here's
Jimmy
one thing I want to show you.
Jobs.
Like recently I put out a gratitude NFT, but included with it was an AR scene that has this actual model. Here's like the 3D print version of that AR model that was just recently released. It's a Sleepiest the Healer. I don't know if you can see it all that great, but
yeah, we can kind of see it. Yeah. That's interesting.
And you 3D printed that?
Yes.
Wow.
That's my homie right there. That's
really well made, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, if I wasn't a philosopher, I'd almost believe that that was a real person.
It doesn't look like you just have a little bit of an understanding of 3D though. Seems like you're at another level there.
Right? Oh, yeah, he's a hustler. I keep telling you this, Cowie. He's a hustler.
I've painted before. Here, let me show you something. I'll pull up something from the vault just for you guys. Let's see what's going on here.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
okay.
I used to make like weird videos and just trippy, like, I guess you could say commentaries on the world. But here's something that's kind of weird, kind of trippy. This is like from like 10 years ago or something that I made. And this is using 3D elements and music and animation. So basically my background is kind of just being a nerd and just like understanding a lot of computer stuff and just falling into like multiple rabbit holes over years of time. And
yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I've done 3D art before. I've done a lot of that stuff as well. So I understand you, man.
And now it's all starting to meld together.
Yeah, I had this idea about 2 months ago that I wanted to put into place, but I'm not going to do it anymore because I think you've already done it, and I think it's really cool. Because like my idea was like, what if you could have like almost like mood music, right? So you're at a gallery and you put some kind of like rendered image up on the gallery wall as a piece of art, right? It's like this that's moving. And like most people at a gallery, they're not going to pay attention to it. Like even if it's an NFT gallery, they might more so in an NFT gallery. But I was thinking like a real world gallery, right? And so they're going to see this and they're just going to like walk by it. They're going to be looking at the paintings on the wall. But you have this music that's attached to it, and the music pulses alongside with the image itself, right? Like so now when you go into YouTube, you can sometimes see this. There's like a a circle in the center that kind of pulses, or there's images. And so with this, through like AR, kind of like you can have things that morph and move and things like that. But you've already kind of done it here. And I thought it would be a really cool experience because you just have this loud music playing, or you're at a bar, you're at a club and the loud music's playing. And then all of a sudden, like the music stops and you look at the image and you realize that the image has stopped. But then when you start it again, then the two things work in sync together. And I thought it would almost be like a mood music type of thing, right? Because it would be kind of cool to create that like as a background type of music that you could put on the TV screen, like in a cafe or something like that, and people could kind of trance out, but at the same time it would be in the background. And then when they learned that was actually an NFT, so if I was thinking, if I open my own cafe, maybe it'd be cool. I could do these like plug and play things. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to buy one of your NFTs and put that on the screen because that like you've kind of already done it, I think, and it looks really good. It's really
here.
Cool.
I'll show you guys an eternal spirit too, real quick. Because on my Instagram page, I have some of those spirits, I think. Where's Instagram? Oh, shoot.
Right? This annoys me when I have to log into things. Come on. Live in the real world.
So here's my Instagram page. And yeah, here's the... Remember how I just showed you the 3D model of Asclepius the healer?
Yep.
Yeah.
So recently I just put out a gratitude NFT, and this is the AR scene. I have to log in.
Maybe, yeah.
Hold on, let me see.
Don't put your password online for everyone to see, but
it's okay. I can remove it.
I'll just show you guys this. I'll just show you just the static images to give you kind of an idea. But basically, like, imagine that, but like, the moving images of the spirits and stuff.
Well, let's just do this. There.
Yeah, you can log in now.
Yeah, hold on, let's see.
Where did I put the damn password? Oh man, I messed up one of my passwords last night. I was trying to do something.
I have a better idea.
I'll
show you on my cell phone.
Fair enough. I messed up something last night. I put the wrong password in, and they like locked me out of my account for like probably 24 hours. I'm so annoyed about that. I'm just like, I put it in like consecutively like 5 times in a row. And
what was your Instagram again?
It's a Nano Narc Agent. It's the same. That's basically like the handle that I use for like the NFT stuff that I put out.
That's pretty cool. Okay, now we got like I kind of feel like I'm being left out here.
Yeah, that looks cool. Like the simultaneous AR experiences going on at once.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one of the eternal spirits at the bottom, and then that's the Asclepius the healer. That was a gratitude NFT that I gave out to collectors. Like whoever purchased an item from my collection back in February got one of those Asclepius the healers, and that's one of those eternal spirits floating off into space right there. So after you tap it, it'll just fly up into the sky. And it keeps going until it disappears. So there's like one of those for each one. Well, I'll show you another one.
Let's do this.
That just like, you know, what you were saying before, like it just kind of hit me as well, how cool it is, the concept of NFTs, right? Because someone like you, and I've done a lot of that as well. I think anyone that is a tech savvy person just experimented with stuff throughout their lives, like creating things, and just sometimes you have a little bit of a, you know, a text that you wrote and no one ever read, or you have a little Photoshop image that you created and no one's ever seen it. And now there's a space for you to just say, oh, look at that. Like, I'll share this. And if you think it's interesting, we create a community around it. And we think, you know, we can discuss about where this can go from here, that kind of stuff. It's really nice.
Yes. And plus, like, what's good about this is like now, you know, there's a platform for people to, you know, put their ideas out there, and it's like not too expensive now with the Wax blockchain. Now that you're able to, you know, make your NFTs for like pennies, you don't have to like, you know, make a major investment on like an Ethereum platform. You could just, you know, put your ideas out there. If they work, okay. If they don't, you know, go back to the drawing board and see what else you could do. See how you can, you know, put your creative juices together to create something worthwhile for yourself and maybe even the world at large, and create like you could basically create worlds, like if you really want to, and like flesh them out and do all kinds of stuff. Kind of like what the Uplift project is doing is they're creating a world, but it's like a world of all these different people they're all creating their ideas, and they're all geared towards a common goal of, you know, being of like, you know, putting their manifestations into fruition and seeing if they work, and like maybe even adding to other people's collections and collaborating with each other, and, you know, feeding off of each other's ideas. And it's like almost like an accelerated mode of creativity once you start getting enough people all together in the same melting pot, because then you start to see not a competition, but like a creative collaboration where everyone's, you know, feeding off of each other's ideas and kind of putting their own spin on things and using their own expertise to kind of flesh things out, how they would translate certain ideas. And it's, I don't know, it's very interesting overall.
I mean, I think humans in general, like we are social animals, right? Like what you say, and we have the tendency to, you know, want to, you know, be active with other people. But a lot of times, especially like, you know, in my life anyway, because if you go back, you know, even late 90s or even early 2000s, like the internet really wasn't even used that much, even at that time, right? I mean, it was, but it wasn't what it was now. You didn't have it in your pocket. You didn't carry around. You didn't have these social like networks and things like that. And, you know, it was really hard to find people, who, you know, have the same interests as you sometimes, if your interests were out there, right? And especially if you're like small town or like, you know, not so like overtly populated area. And like, especially if you're a creative person who, you know, didn't necessarily put too much stock in Hollywood or watching TV, which is where a lot of people, you know, use a lot of energy. And I'm not knocking them, right? Like I think there's some movies out there that I love. Like I love watching them. Like I think it was really hard to find people like that. But now with the internet and especially with the NFTs and the creative art space, it really changes things, because now you can gravitate towards an area where pretty much everyone is doing things that like you yourself would love to sit down and do, right? With this NFT space, with this creative space, with this Uplift World building Minecraft space, right? Like now, if I were to walk, out in my hometown and I was to sit in the park and I were to like set up my computer and like show like all of my old like high school friends what I was doing, they'd just be like, what are you doing? like this is insane. Like, who does that, right? But like, that's cool because I actually don't need them anymore.
Right.
I need them for other things, right? Like throwing axes at walls, like, sitting by a campfire, right?
But you don't need them to give you all the attention all the time, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they don't need me to, really care whether the Toronto Blue Jays have won or lost last night, right? Because like they're surrounded by like, people on the internet as well, even though they might be like spread out across, the world as well. Like try being a Toronto Blue Jays fan or a Toronto Maple Leafs fan or an American football fan in Japan. Like it's almost impossible, right? Like nobody cares about American football over here, right? And like or Europe or a lot of these other countries, right? And like so like that makes it doubly hard for me because I'm a freaking Jets fan. I don't know what I was thinking back in the day, but but yeah, like
I think hardcore sports fans.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it just that in general, right? Like, and I saw something interesting the other day. Like, there's an NFT project I think that's coming out, or that they minted the first NFT for like some kind of fantasy league or something like this. Now,
was it like those cricket cards or something?
No, it was somebody I think over in the Crypto Rider channel. He just minted his own first NFT series, but I think he does some fantasy stuff and. Like that was cool, right? Like we can find all of this really cool stuff, right? Like, and I think it's just gonna get more and more and more. We're gonna segregate ourselves into communities of openness more and more as time goes on. I think that's what's gonna happen.
One thing about the space is how like the reach. Like I don't think a lot of people get the idea of the reach that they have currently with the technology, how it is. So now. How you're saying, the reach of your art, like now your art can basically, you can create a piece of art, and then within 10 minutes of, publishing it, it could be all over the world. Like, so like the reach of your art now is like very, very promising. And I think a lot of people overlook that one singular fact. And they kind of like, they put it out and they don't realize how, how far reaching these things that we're putting out and publishing are. It's like, you could print something in, the United States, and in 2 minutes, someone in Brazil or someone in Canada or someone in Europe is picking up your stuff and like, wow, this is like a pretty cool thing. And it's like something fresh that they've never seen before, and they may be excited to get it. And then it's like a reach, and then the word of mouth. So then like you have that reach. So it's like almost like this branching reach you have. So when you do an NFT drop, it's like, all right, who's interested in this? And it's almost like you put that stake in the ground. And it's like, all right, who's interested in this concept or this idea or this art form or style, and you put it out there, and then eventually, people will buy it up and like tell their friends and, oh, check this guy out. What's going on over here? Like what kind of concepts and, art forms is he doing?
And I think one really important thing is the platform as well, right? And that's where places like the Uplift come in, I think, which is, it's nice that, even if I've never heard about it, I can just go to a marketplace that's just dedicated to game and art, and that this kind of like weird space we're in, which is full of cool stuff. But then you go to a place like the Uplift, and then you see that in 3D, and everyone is actually interacting, and you meet your fellow, member in there, and the creator of those NFTs as well, and you can have a chat and a fly around in your 3D kaleidoscope, space. How cool is all that, right? Like that's not something that was available before when you were just Googling art before, right? Like this is really, I think why this is going to become so much more interesting as well, even than what it is now, right?
Yeah, because now you could even practice, like if you're an imaginary type, you could like, just gather all kinds of just creative ways to display your works in a unique form. So it's not just like, like a standard military issue picture, something that's been done before. You could like put your own spin on it, create like my advice to anyone getting in the space would just be create, just like start making stuff, start putting stuff out there. Like, don't be afraid of, people you know, maybe criticizing your work, because that'll just help you grow. Like build from that, even like use like the criticisms or maybe even the constructive criticisms that you get, and just build upon that and do the best version of you can do, and just put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and criticism is important, but as an artist, you can never just go by those, right? Because there's always going to be criticism, especially in the space where there's so many people having an opinion. If you just go by others' opinions, then you don't actually produce original art and what you think is cool, right? So you need to listen to people, of course, like, but always with your own judgment and making your own decisions and your own calls, right? Otherwise, it's not your art anymore after a while, right?
Yes. And that's the thing. It's kind of like that's what I've been doing recently, is kind of like you're aware of like what collections are being released, what kind of stuff is being released, but I try to kind of go through periods of time where you don't really like look at other people's art, because it might, you know, contaminate or like steer your influence in a certain way where you're kind of like chasing what they're doing, or like you kind of veer off from your vision. Like one thing that's good is to stick to your vision and flesh that out. And if you do that, like you've really got the secret sauce. Like that's the secret sauce ultimately, is like create your own vision and stick to it, flesh it out, build it, like create a foundation and build upon that. Like, but make sure it's your own, make sure that you're true to the art, make sure you're being honest with what you're doing, make sure you like there's not like, you know, outside factors influencing what you're trying to do. Like make sure it's all like coming from yourself, and put it out there and the light will shine.
Well, and I think going back to what I was saying earlier, like I think that makes a lot of sense too, right? Because we're in this space where everyone is kind of, you know, like feeding off of each other, but everyone is kind of bringing about, or most people are bringing about their own vision, right? As opposed to like the real world where, you know, everyone wants you to kind of conform. So I think it's a lot easier to get that like creativeness out into the world if you're over here, especially in the NFT space, right? Because like even mainstream art or mainstream fashion, I mean, right, they're changing from year to year intentionally just so that they can cycle through, right? Whereas here, you don't really have to please anyone but yourself, right? I mean, and that's especially in these early days of NFTs. I think most people who are here are doing it for themselves, right? Like there aren't that many people, this is my guess, but I don't think that there's that many people that are saying, okay, I'm going to create this NFT because I think that other people will pay me lots of money for it, right?
I would have quit a long time ago if that was a fact.
Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, like there are people who are getting paid lots of money for their NFTs, but they're creating them for themselves, right? They're creating them for their own ideologies, right? Like, you know, I guarantee you that when you get that Kaleidoscope plot back, like built, if you ever decided, you know, to put that NFT on the market, that would be massive, right? I think you could get paid for that. But that's the thing, right? You're not building it for that purpose. You're building it because you love kaleidoscopes and you want to, you know.
I want to see my project go into the future.
Right? When life gets tough, some people make lemonade. When life gets tough for Tim, he goes up and down a kaleidoscope tower.
For hours.
For hours and hours and hours.
I'm mesmerized by my own mesmerizations.
Right. I love it.
So whenever I do build those, I make sure it's like mesmerizing to myself before I publish it.
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, it's kind of, Corey says this a lot too on our show, like with M Blue. It's like, you know, some of the stuff that we're working on, like myself as well, like when I make cover images, like when I first started making cover images for our old shows, right? And I was thinking about turning them into NFTs, which we never actually did because I ran out of time. It was like I would spend like sometimes hours like just making one silly cover image for like one of our older shows. And it was just like, I just want to make this so good that if I ever turn it into an NFT, I'm going to want to buy it, right? Like that's like, right? Like that's kind of the goal. It's like make things that you would support, make things that you want to buy, right? Because if you know, if you're not doing that, then well,
I've been recently scouring the secondary market looking for number ones for my collection. So I've been like scooping those up. People are getting rid of them for cheap, so I'm just picking them up.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing, people. You're selling those number ones for cheap? Let me know.
True.
I'm looking for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Tim, I really enjoyed this. This is gonna sound weird, but I'm 100% here. Like, I really enjoyed this much more than expected because I didn't really know very much about Kaleidoscope NFTs, other than like just checking out Atomic Hub. And yeah, you taught me a lot of really cool stuff. With the QR code and the scanning and like being able to see that. So I'm definitely going to dive in. I definitely want to bring you back at some point. Whether it's on this show, whether it's on another show, I'd love to see on the blog. We're definitely going to have to keep in touch because I think what you're doing is very true to yourself and very unique in the space. Maybe one of the most unique projects that I've had the pleasure of listening to for essentially 90 minutes. And the way that you're incorporating it in that into both your gratitude and your Genesis plots in the Uplift is just amazing. I think it's brilliant. Personally, that's my kind of last standing word.
I 100% agree with that, man. And I agree. It was just such a cool chat because we didn't just we stuck to what you were good at and what you know that you're doing and that you're true to, but we went around it like in different directions and explored like the borders of all that concept of Kaleidoscope NFTs and what you're trying to do with it, right? So it was really super cool. I agree.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to announce, or you want to tell people how to get to you?
You could like look for me on Instagram, Twitter. Now you could just look up Nano Narc Agent on Twitter and Instagram, and you'll find me there. I post like a lot of my 3D prints and stuff on Instagram, and I post a lot of my NFT stuff on Twitter. So you'll see like my day-to-day like things that I'm printing out and all kinds of weird stuff that I'm doing on Instagram, more so than you'll see on Twitter.
Cool.
And also,
all right,
like I have an extensive sticker and AR sticker collection that I'm pretty soon going to release a pack that'll have these redeemable tokens. So you'll be able to redeem, a regular static sticker with one token, and you'll be able to redeem an AR sticker with the AR token. So it'll be like you'll basically get like a token, and you'll be able to redeem it for like a good library of stickers that are currently in my collection. So look out for a pack that you'll be able to select a bunch of interesting static and AR stickers.
Where would those come out? Like where can we find the link to that?
Eventually, they'll be available on a NFT Blocks pack drop. So after this interview, I'm gonna get all that going and create a pack drop for tomorrow.
And do you have like a Telegram we can find that?
There'll be a link eventually. It'll be on NFT Blocks under my Kaleidoscope NFT packs.
Okay.
So if you log into NFT Blocks and go to your packs, you'll be able to see like the Kaleidoscope NFT series, and you just go there and you'll see the packs once you purchase them, or if you have those in your inventory.
Okay, sure.
And yeah, I mean, feel free to drop one. I'm going to extend this. I'm starting to extend this to people in our communities, right? Basically, we're booting a lot of people out for dropping links, right? But if you're in the Genesis community or you're in the gratitude community and you have a community plot or a community project, especially some individuals as well, and something's happening. I know Anders, he does his NFT kind of membership sales every month, right?
He skipped this month though.
Yeah, and if you like people like you are doing like an event tomorrow, like feel free to drop like one link or a link to an article or something like the day before, so that our community members can know, right? Like we don't want it to become a spam channel. We don't want people just coming in there and like constantly just saying like oh, go buy this on Atomic Hub or something like that. But when you guys are having events come out, like this is what we're aiming to achieve, right? Like your whole plot is catered around this project, right? And so when something's happening with this project, like we're really hoping that like people who are interested in that plot will also support that project. So like feel free to drop a link. Feel free to tag me, especially in the link.
That's it. Yeah, you can tag one of us just to make sure that the other admins don't see that as spam or anything like that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because if those admins start banning stuff with like tag at Kawimoto, we know we're in trouble. We know the robots have arrived. Yeah. So thank you once again, Tim.
It's true.
Thank you very much for having me and listen to my banter.
Super good. super cool. How should we actually do the ending to this show, though?